In this section, I'm going to introduce you to the building blocks of the classical language of architecture. We have the column, round typically, and a certain height in proportion to its diameter. And we then have the beam that sits on top of the column, which is known as the entablature. The entablature should sit just over the upper diameter of the column, and it has a certain height in proportion to the height of the column. So we have the column, and then we also have the entablature. And those are the building blocks of the classical language of architecture. But now what makes them classical is the particular ways in which those elements are articulated. Each one of these elements is in fact subdivided into three parts classically. The column has an upper part and a lower. The upper part and the lower part are each some proportion of the diameter, and that upper part is known as the capital, the lower part as the base, and the middle is the shaft. The entablature itself is divided into three parts. The lower part is the architrave, the middle part is the frieze, and the upper part is the cornice. So those are the two essential elements of a classical order, a column and an entablature, and the three parts of which each of those elements is composed: the capital, shaft, and base for the column, and the cornice, frieze, and architrave for the entablature. Now what we'll see as we look into the more specific orders of which this language is composed, and there are in fact 5 of them according to the Renaissance tradition, we'll see where the variations happen and where the specifics of articulation and proportion allow us to read the difference between one column and another and see how they relate to each other. So now we'll look at a specific example from that parallel of 5 orders, and we'll look at the simplest one first.